everyone, how's it going? Matthew Bailey Media here, and welcome to another 2023 movie review. Sorry if this video is coming out a little late by the time you're watching this. I thought I'd get this out of the way. But I am doing my review on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, before I get into it, I do want to say, yes, I know there's been a lot of crazy rumors going around online about how this movie's doing as bad as friggin' Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania did. There's a reason why I never actually reviewed that movie when it came out, and it's because I didn't like the way it turned out. But with this movie, this is why so many people are hoping that Phase 5 starts to slowly get back on track. I mean, when you honestly look back at how Phase 4 started, you had movies like Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and The Eternals, specifically. And out of those three movies, Shang-Chi was the only one that people said was like really good, and then it went to bad, and then it went to a really great film with Spider-Man No Way Home, and then every movie that came out afterwards, like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, all three movies ended up being huge successes. But then we got Ant-Man 3, and we all know how that turned out. But I will say, this movie is definitely a lot better. It definitely ended up being a lot better when it comes to the quality, the story, and it was a last hurrah for James Gunn in the MCU as the director of the Guardians movies, because now he's going on to both direct and be the CEO of the new DC universe. And the first movie that's supposed to come out in that new universe is Superman Legacy, which is supposed to come out in 2025 from what I hear. So we'll see how that turns out. But with this movie, I did think it was a really good film, I have to say. It was a great way to explore the whole origin story of Rocket Raccoon, which is this wasn't really a spoiler because it was kind of hinted at in the trailers. But this is what the main driving point of the movie was. Basically telling Rocket's origin and how he became a member of the Guardians in the first place. And I will say, I do like the way his character arc ended in this movie. Well, not necessarily ended, but I don't want to say anything more about that without giving away spoilers. But I will say that a lot of the characters in this movie had great character development, and I will say that there was one thing that I didn't like when it comes to a certain plot point in this that kept getting hinted at in both trailers and promotional material and articles, and yet it ended up not happening. I'm not going to say what that thing was, but I will still say it was a huge improvement from what happened in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And I'm glad that James Gunn was able to end off his trilogy on a high note, and I'm really hoping that things continue down the way they are. And I will say, I think James Gunn is also the only director, as far as I'm aware, he's the only director that's actually done 3 movies of the same name, to be fair. I mean, the only other directors that have managed to be close to him was Taika Waititi for the Thor Ragnarok and Love and Thunder, the Russo brothers for Infinity War and Endgame, as well as Winter Soldier and Civil War for Captain America, and Jon Favreau for the first 2 Iron Mans. But honestly, I don't think any director has actually done more at least 3 movies or more with the same name attached to it. Now, to be fair, the Russo brothers were the only ones that did 2 Captain Americas and 2 Avengers movies, but again, that's just 2 of those names. They didn't do a 3rd movie of the same name, but James Gunn, I think, is the only director in the MCU who has managed to direct 3 movies at once. And I will say that he was right to be chosen as a director for the MCU. I mean, the way he did the first Guardians was amazing. I mean, second one, most people thought was a little bit of a downgrade, but then this one kind of improved back on what happened in Guardians 2, and it was a great way to end off the trilogy. And again, James Gunn, I think, will forever be known in history as the only MCU director who managed to come back for a 3rd movie of the same title name. If there are any other movies out there that were directed by of MCU movies that had the same director for 3 installments, let me know. Not sure if I remember correctly if there were any, but I don't think there was. But now that the fact that James Gunn is the only MCU director to have that title, and now he's the new CEO of the DC universe, hopefully that means he will fix a lot of what happened in the DC universe, which originally was supposed to be known as the Snyderverse, where some guy named Zack Snyder was directing a lot of the movies that came out from the old DC universe, and certain things were being done and people were not happy about certain plot storylines in each of the movies and people who were cast as the characters. But hopefully he really does well in the DC universe, and I thought this movie was a great way to and a proper send-off to him as a director in the MCU. Now, needless to say, I'm not sure what that means for the future of characters from his Guardians movies that were played by actors Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, etc. And I will say, again, Chris Pratt's character of Peter Quill and the character of Rocket Raccoon, and even Drax, they are the main 3 that, in my opinion, had the largest, and also Nebula. They're the main Guardians who have had the hugest amount of character development and story plot throughout the entire trilogy, which also includes movies that the Avengers films they showed up in. And I'm really looking forward to what comes next in the MCU. But anyways, let me give you my rating of the movie. So yeah, like I said, the movie was incredible. Definitely an improvement from the last Guardians movie. And definitely had better character development for the Guardians since their last physical appearance in Thor: Love and Thunder. But I have to give this movie a 4 out of 5. Yep, so definitely expect this movie to probably end up on my best films of the year list. Definitely thought it was a good Marvel movie. It may also be the only Marvel movie that ends up on my best films of the year list. Not too sure about Captain Marvel 2, or the Marvels is what it's called now, but hopefully and the next Marvel project that comes out in movie form, being the Marvels, is hopefully good enough to end up on my list. If not, then Guardians will be the only movie from the MCU that ends up on this list of best films of this year. So anyways, that's all for now, and I will see all of you guys in the next video.